This is the Metal Morgue, dissecting the best and worst horror movies and music that rock, with your host, Dr. Gangrene.
So now we're here to rehearse our new album. Or lose our advance. Or lose our advance. We've got a month to come up with 10 minutes of new good material. And we're not going anywhere until we do.
Friggin' great. But why Canada?
Because Toronto's where it's happening, man. The music, the film industry, the arts.
Hey, Fright fans, we're here with Jon Thor, the one and only Thor from RocknRoll Nightmare. He's a musician, a bodybuilder, a actor. He does it all. Thor, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and I extend a handshake across the miles to the south from the north. How are you doing there, Dr. Gangrene? It's great to talk to you after all this time.
Yeah, great to talk to you too and hear from you. It's been a few years since we got you down to Nashville.
Yes, and that's one of the greatest gigs I've ever had. I thought it was a really enthusiastic crowd, and Nashville, you know, being Music City, the people knew their stuff, and that place was packed, and we were rocking the city that night.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get you back down here because I understand you've got a new album out. Is that right?
That's right. We just released a new album on A389 Records. It's called Thor's Teeth.
Thor's Teeth.
Yeah.
and tell them about the promo they get with that.
Yeah, we get a promo where you get a box of Thor's teeth that were broken during bending steel bars with every album sold.
Well, I actually saw you for real break a tooth here in Nashville during one of the shows.
That's right. So you add that up, a tooth in every city, and you're doing 300 shows a year, you know.
Absolutely.
That's well, take a few boxes, then, you know.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about RocknRoll Nightmare.
RocknRoll Nightmare.
1987. So now you wrote the script for RocknRoll Nightmare. Is that right?
That's right. Wrote the script, and I based it. I always wanted to do a film, sort of a combination of Hercules and Superman mixed with horror. You know, I was a Superman fanatic since I was a kid, and the idea of a super being who comes to Earth and has to do battle on Earth, which is what Hercules did, which is what Thor did, which is the story of Superman, right? An alien sent to Earth, or a super being. In my case, we made it where it was an archangel. You know, an archangel came to Earth and had to do battle on Earth.
I am Triton, the Archangel. You've overstepped your line again, Bob.
Okay, so I understand it was pretty cold up there at the time you were shooting. You were running around in a metal loincloth. You had to have been freezing.
Very much so. And when we first got up there, we started filming, the weather was quite mild. It just suddenly dropped down to 30 below, just like that. And that's how it is when you're in Ontario in the October, November area, right? It'll drop just like that. And then there was no heat in the barn where we were filming some of the scenes, you know. I mean, the metal loincloth, yeah, I was freezing my butt off, literally.
Yeah, I was reading an interview with John Fasano, and he said that one of the camera guys' face actually froze to the camera when he was shooting that outside shot of the house. That's right,
it did. It did. You know, everybody was really, really cold, and after that, we were so happy, especially me, when the scene was over, to get a nice hot cup of hot chocolate.
Now, there is a very prominent Coke can in several of the shots. Did you guys get a sponsorship from Coke?
Yes, we survived on Coke, you know. Or should I say Coca Cola?
Yeah.
Because it was the 80s. But, you know, we had a Coca Cola in Canada said, look, we'll supply you if you show, you know, a few, shots of the can, you know, we'll give you, multiple crates brought it in with a big truck and forklifted it out. And we had Coca Cola, I mean, that's what we were drinking, because we got quite a sugar high on that. But that definitely was the beverage of the movie.
Definitely. It's in several shots, pretty prominent.
Yes.
Now, you worked with John Fasano. You guys were already friends, right?
Yes, we worked previously in Zombie Nightmare.
Which there's no relation, even though they both have Nightmare in the title.
They're both Nightmare to film as well. If that was any relation.
Yeah.
Yes, John Fasano, I think, is a genius, tremendous director, producer, a writer on his own accord, having been involved with various horror movies and a famous movie, Another 48 Hours. He was a co-writer on that. And I had just starred in a movie called Recruits, which did very well, and John saw me in Recruits, and he recruited me to be the monster. And of course, knowing I love monsters and playing monsters, I was the zombie monster in the Zombie Nightmare.
The voodoo woman explained it to me on the way over, Frank. She made this kid a zombie so it would avenge itself against its murderers.
And so from there, you guys decided to get together and make this movie. Now, did you write the script first, or did he sort of come to you and say, hey, we need how'd that come about?
As I said, I always wanted to do a film about a superhero character mixed with horror, and so I started writing the synopsis and presented to John. He said, just, hey, elaborate on that. Of course, I took his input that he gave me, that we could add this and add that, and I came up with the full script.
Now, that ending is absolutely nuts. Did you plan from the get-go to kind of go over the top with it, or was it something that you kind of, as you guys were going along, go, hey, we got to kick this up a notch?
Yeah, that's how it was. Let's come up. I always love a movie that has a twisted ending or a very surprise ending. You don't want the cliche ending, right? That, oh yeah, I know that's going to happen. This is going to happen, and the monster, the monster movie, the monster is going to get killed, or King Kong's going to fall off the Empire State Building. One of my favorite movies, but you knew he was going to get it in the end. This just had I think a very unique twist. You had people had no idea, it came out of nowhere, right?
Absolutely.
And I purposely did that. I wanted the element of surprise.
Yeah. No, and obviously you weren't afraid of going over the top, and in fact seemed to quite embrace it with the rubber puppets and the outlandish costumes and whatnot.
Well, we originally wanted to have a multi-million-dollar script. That was the idea. But knowing we only had so much of a budget, we had to do what we could do with what we had. And for example, a lot of the puppets were actually supposed to be some Harryhausen type of monsters, some special, really excellent special effects. I was going to sprout metal wings and fly around instead of just having a cape and a metal codpiece. There was a lot of plans, and one thing that we want to do, hopefully, and we've been talking to different investors on this, is to do what happens if we do Intercessor in this modern age with all this special effect technology and digital technology available to us, and make a $30 million picture.
Yeah.
What would what would RocknRoll Nightmare be like? Or what would the Intercessor be like?
Sure.
In this modern age, or maybe it would just lose its charm that it had. Maybe we'd have all the bells and whistles, and I'd be flying around, with wings and battling evil demons and spawns that look very realistic, but yet maybe that charm of the little puppets and
sure.
squids that I'm trying to catch to make them stick on me. That's all the fun of the movie.
Well, it is, and that's everybody's favorite parts is all that exactly what you mentioned, all that stuff that now becomes the charm of it. But more than anything else, I think for me, it's the rock and roll aspect of it combined with all of that, and the fact that you were able to work in the music of Thor. Of course, it's credited to the Thor and the Tritons, but it's your band, right, doing the music?
Yeah, so actually, what I did at the time, I wanted to branch out and form another band, so I called it the Tritons. Actually, I was going to have an alternate band to Thor, and then we, tour with the band called the Tritons. And so those songs were especially written for the movie, and I think it has an excellent soundtrack. We, interestingly enough, we recorded at Triton Sound in Toronto. But the music itself, even though we didn't get a lot of radio play, actually, they're still hits. Maybe they've become hits and transcended time, and they were handed down generation to generation because of the movie. And then, of course, the movie got re-released, and so we've got young kids always requesting Energy or requesting We Live to Rock. And when I go on tour, I'm over in Europe, and people are yelling for We Live to Rock and Energy and all these songs from the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely astounding, when a 10-year-old kid in Finland is singing We Live to Rock. And sometimes it makes me shake my head, the power of music.
Come on, let's tune our weapons.
I just find that, John and I wanted to make a movie that we could actually get a little distribution on, right? We had big plans for the multi-million-dollar movie. When that didn't work, we decided to go work with our little budget we had, and then, hey, if we could get a little distribution, wonderful. I had no idea that it was going to get all these accolades and just, this cult following that continues to grow, and where, the music and the movie itself stand the test of time.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that word, with cult. It's definitely become a cult movie. So that's I think what's made it endure the test of time, as you say.
Yes, absolutely. And if like so many remakes, I just watched The Thing recently, which was a continuation, or a prelude, actually. It was a prelude to The Thing by John Carpenter.
Right.
The first one of my movies before that was The Thing from Another World, with James Arness as, the carrot creature, which is sort of like Frankenstein. So I'm thinking that maybe RocknRoll Nightmare at one time, it doesn't have to star me or anything, but I do think, of course, John Stano and I hold the rights. We feel that, and as we said, we're talking to different producers and investors, that, let's do maybe RocknRoll Nightmare as a really big picture, and just see how how people take it. Right? I think it could be a very big success. To go from a cult film, to mainstream.
Yeah, might be an interesting thing to see how it turns out.
Yes, and only time will tell. We'll see what happens with that.
Very cool. Well, I wish you all the best there, and when you're touring with Thor's Teeth, I know we're gonna have to get you down to Nashville.
Absolutely, and we'll bring maybe a whole trunk of teeth.
Throw them out in the audience.
I'll gum that steel bar, but I'll bend it.
That's for sure. Well, all right, man. Well, hey, it was great talking with you, and let's stay in touch, and we'll see what we can do about that tour.
Absolutely, and please say hello to all my friends in Nashville. I think Nashville is an incredible town, a great rock town, and I appreciate all the support I got last time, and look forward to seeing you and everybody when we come to town.